Okay. Says it's being live streamed.
Says that already? My goodness sakes, I better get on the ball. Hi, Facebook people. It's so great to be here again. This is Comic Spot interview number 811. And today we have a guest with us who is a present military mother, Carolyn Mincin. I'll do her intro in just a minute. She's standing there waiting very patiently. So glad you folks are here watching. If you're at home, you know the drill. Just kick back, relax, watch the blinking lights. We try to make it entertaining. The whole thing about Comic Spot interviews is so you at home can get to know comedians and actresses, people in show business, behind the scenes without their masks on. The ones before the pandemic, where they reveal who they are. So you can see if you know them, you like them, you want to help their career, that kind of thing. So that's the whole point here. And I have a sponsor. It's the veteransofcomedy.com. If you're looking to do comedy for military or not, it never hurts to check out those who have served our country, like the fine men in the picture behind Carolyn. Soldiers who are now doing comedy are listed on the veteransofcomedy.com website. I believe in that organization, and I think you should too. So if you want someone who served our country, who also serves up jokes, go to the veteransofcomedy.com. Now that's the intro of the show. And now I get the privilege of introducing to you Carolyn Mincin. And I'm stalling as I flip up on the messenger to get to the intro. Here we go. Her intro is as follows. Carolyn Mincin is a comic and actress, has performed at the Greenwich Village Comedy Club, Saturday Live, and gave up the drug dealer on the season premiere of FBI Most Wanted, and she is the most unbalanced woman in comedy. Welcome to the stage, Carolyn Mincin. Yay! Hi, Carolyn.
Hi, Linda. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I'm so delighted you're here. Thanks for taking time out.
I was just making a wild boar pea soup for what's his face. My husband. He's got a cold or whatever. So, and of course, he's got a cold. It's like, oh. So I made him, chicken soup from scratch. Yeah.
I love chicken soup when I don't feel good. Isn't it the best?
I think so, but the funny thing is our son, who is currently deployed, he FaceTimed us while my husband was having soup, and he said, "Oh my God, Mom, you made him soup. Your chicken soup is awful." I'm like, no, my chicken soup is really good. It's just that I don't put salt in it because Daddy can't have salt. But if you put in salt, it's really, really good. No, Mom. Most of the stuff you make is pretty good, but chicken soup, you suck.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
Yeah. Thank you, Wes.
I'm looking to make sure that this video is on here. Just 1 second. You know what I told you about the internet today? It's on.
Yes, our friend the internet.
I have to watch Zuckerberg. I'm telling you.
Have him on the show. Maybe he'll cooperate,
I know. I think it's because I haven't invited him on for an interview that he's doing this to me.
He is. Okay, if he's going to be that way, listen, I'll help you out. Do you want me to go full Jersey on him and fish slap him?
Yes, please.
I can do that. I'm a child from, who was born near the Hell's Kitchen area, raised in that area of New York, where my classmates who went to Catholic school with me, a number of them ended up in prison because that's just the kind of guys they were. So I've got no problem, fish slapping. It's really easy. You get a giant fish from the fishmonger, okay, full size, grab it by the tail and fish slap.
What happens to the person that gets fish slapped?
They find it's a very fishy smelling situation.
So they don't die or anything. There's nothing behind.
No. You're just hitting them with a piece of, amphibian protein.
Get a little protein on the side.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, there are women who will pay lots and lots of money for fishy smelling things to put on their face. I'm giving it for free, come on.
Why are you going
Get
to
over it.
complain? It's free. Anything you get for free. How are you going to complain?
Trust me, you can complain. Trust me.
Well, let's talk about Wesley in the military. Your son is currently deployed. He's in the picture. Which one is he in the picture?
He is the one that my finger is right next to. He is holding the flag. He is a police officer. He's in the Army National Guard. And these wonderful gentlemen, which here they are all deployed with him as well. So they all serve with him on the Philadelphia Police Force. And they are all deployed right now. Same unit.
So they're on the Philadelphia Police Force?
Yes, ma'am.
And they all got deployed because they were in the guards?
Yep.
Wow. My gosh. Well, I'm so thankful that they're serving our country.
I am too. It's, the thing is that I remember when Wesley was training to be a police officer. And at that point, he was already in the Guard. Well, first of all, he had was on an ROTC scholarship. And he commissioned after that. And he went into the Guard. And he decided, okay, well, the thing is that whenever he was applying for a job, believe it or not, the moment they heard that he was in the Guard, oh, I'm sorry, the job's no longer available. And you really can't prove that they've got anything ulterior going on. So Wesley made a decision to become a police officer. And I had my concerns because, I grew up in the Hell's Kitchen area of New York before it became gentrified. And he called me one day and he said, Mommy, I just realized today that I could be shot just for wearing the uniform. And I said, really? Which one? Because you got your choice of two. When my son takes off one uniform, he puts on the other. So it's like, you really don't have a chance to be at ease.
My goodness. So how long has he been overseas? Where exactly is he at and how long has he been there?
He's at Camp North, what is it, North or something? I should look it up. He's where the Sinai Peninsula is.
Okay.
And he's been there since earlier this year. And we're looking for him to come home sometime next year. We do not have an exact ETA. And there, I guess, there are reasons. And we just go with the flow.
Absolutely. That's the way to have peace in an uncomfortable situation.
Kind of like that. It's just, the mothering side of you never quite goes away.
Never.
And it's because you still want to mother from there. I said, okay, wait, do they have vitamins? Do you have enough vitamins? Mom, you can't find me vitamins. Listen, I'll send you vitamins because you need some good, you need your vitamin D3 and you need your quercetin, you need your vitamin C. He says, Mom, right now where I am, if you send me something, it gets inspected. And if it's something that they don't like, I will get blacklisted. So you got to be very careful what you send over there. I'm like, okay, well, I knew I wasn't going to send you any alcohol. I wouldn't do that. But apparently, so you can't send vitamins. I'm like, my son can't have vitamins.
Oh.
I'm a big proponent of vitamins. They are good for your body. I said, do they give you vitamins there? He's like, Mom, give it up.
Oh my gosh. So you live in New Jersey, did you say?
Yes.
So how's the pandemic been for you? Speak a little bit about the pandemic before I go through your whole life.
Pandemic. Well, first of all, it's been challenging in a lot of ways. I mean, right now things have been, it was really strange when everything got going because when we would go to the supermarket, you'd have to get there like 7 o'clock in the morning. You had to stay 6 feet between people. You had to have your mask. They were counting how many people can go in at a time. It was very scary in the sense that you were regulated, very stiffly regulated. I would see people riding in vans and they'd get out of the van and they're wearing masks and they were literally hosing each other down with cans of Lysol.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm thinking, okay, there's a lot of different views going on about this. What's scary about the pandemic is that there's information out there and then there's misinformation. And then there's information that the media allows you to have. And some of it is really not all that accurate.
Right.
And you find yourself that you're starting to do research. And you're saying, wait a minute, I can read. I can put some of the pieces together. I am speaking with other doctors. Why is something being said here that's being said differently on TV? And that's what's pretty much disconcerting. It doesn't seem like everybody's in the same thing together. It's more like it's like we're more adversarial. And
exactly.
That's what I think is really hard to deal with, because everyone has a point of view. You are responsible for your body, but when they're saying you must take this vaccine or whatever, or else, well, do you have any responsibility if anything goes wrong with it? Oh no, I don't. Well, then wait, so you're forcing me to take it? Like, I would like to make my decisions.
Yes.
And
we think that we are in charge of our own body and our own choices.
you know, it was funny. I had to make a recording for a voiceover for a doctor's hospital fairly recently, a doctor's practice. And they wanted me to put in that from now on, this practice will only see people who are vaccinated. And that I have a problem with, because I'm thinking at this point, there are some reasons why people cannot be vaccinated. So you're going to basically discriminate against them. What about your Hippocratic oath?
Thank you.
It's scary. So that's why I think things are opening up now, but you've got people who are just, you know, if you're in the supermarket and let's just say a person is standing at the counter and they want you to stay 6 feet away, and your cart between you and the spaces that you have, you are 6 feet away. No, they want your cart 6 feet away from them. It's like, oh no, vampire. I mean,
it just never ends, the things that people are arguing about.
I think it's a matter that they're not giving each other the chance to listen, because you have your own point of view. Ultimately, you have responsibility. I have a neighbor, nice lady. First time I met her, everything fine briefly. Second, I gave her some, vegetables from my garden. Second time I met her, oh, how'd you like those vegetables? Yeah, what's the matter? Oh, my father died. My father had the COVID shot and he was dead a week later. I'm like, okay, great way to start a conversation.
Oh my gosh.
So it's very, very challenging on a lot of levels. And there's a lot more going on that I think anyone sees.
Yes, I agree. Without going into the politics of it all, what drives me crazy is when we're seeing death and destruction all around us, we're arguing and polarized, and I just don't know why we can't just, like, it's okay if you believe this way and I believe this way, and just let each other live.
It can be done. It can be done, but there are some who are just, I look, put it this way. I have a nephew, he's got a heart condition. He's had it ever since birth. Because of his condition, he's vaccinated. I got to respect that. I've got a brother-in-law who's a nice guy. He's the size of a planet. I've said that to him. He really needs to lose weight. Seriously, no, seriously, lay off the cake, okay? Lay off the pasta. Seriously, dude, lay off the wine, okay? And because of his weight and everything, he has gotten vaccinated. But, him and I, we have some different opinions on things. I am a tremendous advocate of preventative measures as far as taking care of yourself. If it makes your chances better. And I think what throws people off is that when a lot of the death count was being reported, you had people who had gunshot wounds who were being written up as having COVID. They did, but they died of COVID, but they died from a gunshot wound. But because they had COVID, it was considered, it's not that the gunshot, that just, went through their head. No, it's so stuff like that, that to me, that's misinformation. If
Absolutely.
you have something else that you die from, that's one thing. If COVID's present in your body, but you didn't die from it, but because it's there, then you're saying that it is. That's not giving clear information, and you've got people who are being polarized. That weakens you. What is that? Abraham Lincoln said, "A house divided cannot stand." That is so true. And we have got to be respectful of each other's point of views. Some people can have it, some people can't. We can
That's
work
right.
this out. Seriously.
Totally possible to get along.
It is. I did find that it's more difficult getting acting work than anything else. I have gotten some work. Some productions will say right off the bat, only vaccinated people. And then there are others who will say, okay, you can, what are your reasons? And you can have an exemption.
Super. Yeah.
So
I got into the Burbank Comedy Festival, and then a couple days later, they said only if you're vaccinated. I'm deadly allergic to the vaccination.
so
So
exactly. So what are you
how about
supposed to do?
how about if I come in inside of a plastic bubble?
Seriously,
I would crawl in one to do that festival. And they said no, like, oh well, that's life.
look, my daughter, against my suggestions, went ahead and got herself vaccinated. And a few weeks later, she came down with COVID.
Oh my gosh.
So it is very possible to get it. I mean, regardless. So, but it's a matter of also taking care of yourself. And there's other things. The ivermectin has been working for years and years, hydroxychloroquine. Why are they stopping it when it's been proven to work? And then
How is your daughter doing now, Carolyn?
she's doing better. She's doing much better. She still has a bit of a cough, breathing wise, but otherwise, she has been recovering pretty well. And that's a good feeling. And fortunately, my husband had been visiting her at the time. And I just said, listen, we agreed. You can't stay with her, but hole up in a hotel and stay down there with her, just to make sure because that she has an advocate there, just in case.
Yes, absolutely.
And otherwise, I was going to fly down.
Where
You don't
is
want me
she
to fly
at?
down.
Where does she live?
She's in Texas.
Okay. Well, I'd like to go back into your life. So let's time travel back to little Carolyn in school. I want to know. I can't get to know you if I don't know who you were growing up. Were you the little actress on the block in school? Were you the little funny person? What were you like growing up, and when did you become actress and comedian off stage?
I was not what you consider the funny person, although I always liked to make jokes and just do a lot of writing and write, little funny sketches when I was little. I wouldn't even say I was the class clown. I was the opinionated one in the sense that, I could remember back in 5th grade, we had a teacher. This was back in Catholic school, and she was a lay teacher. And she was one nasty SOB. Give you an example. Do you remember that movie Beetlejuice?
Yes.
Okay. I went to school, Catholic school, with a kid who looked like Beetlejuice. I'm not kidding you. I mean, he really, really had that look about him. And she used to, remember one time she was ridiculing him in class in front of everybody and making fun of his looks and encouraging the other kids to do that. At which point I stood up and said a few things to her that got me kicked out of the class. So fortunately, next Sister Roberta, God rest her soul, was in the neighboring class, and she saw me in the coat room crying my eyes out. I told her what happened. I said, because my mother's going to be so angry because she thinks that nuns and teachers are great people. And fortunately, she advocated for me. But I was of the opinion, if I saw something wrong, I had no problem speaking out, which did not exactly endear me to a lot of people. So, and the funny part is that years later, I connected with some former classmates who remember that time. And they actually said, yeah, I know, you weren't crazy. She really was a nutcake. Yeah. So from there on, I did like making people laugh. I did like to sing. I wasn't what you consider a great talent or a great beauty or anything like that. But I found that I liked expressing myself through theater. And I was always up for leads, but I always got overlooked. And then when I was in college, when I got to be in college, I was accepted into a BFA program for acting that you had to audition for. And I thought, wow, this is a sign. I made it in, no problem. And it was one of the most ridiculous programs ever. I switched out to communications. It was like, seriously, I'm like, these people are absolutely, I'm not going to spend all this time lying on a floor, breathing in and out. And now you are a flower. Now you are a rock. I'm like, seriously. So
that's not acting. That's like yoga.
I'm telling you, I've had some, right now I train with John Pilata in Philadelphia. I met him when he was at the Producers Club in New York. And since he lives in Philly, and the great thing is he has a loft there. So if you want, when you want to film scenes and do shorts and all the other different stuff, it's right there. And John has worked with, what do you call it? Kevin Kline. And he's just has his whole roster. He was, can't think of her name. Oh, Meryl Streep had a few things to say, good things to say about him. He's a fantastic teacher. And I wish I would have known him back then to have cut through all the nonsense of be a bird. Stick your hands out. Okay, look at each other. What are you communicating to each other? I want to communicate that I'm bored to tears. This is an absolute waste of my college education. Thank you. What do you feel deep inside? Deep inside, you're a schmuck. Seriously. And I know why you cast that girl in that lead. It's what was the movie? This show they were doing? Anything Goes. There was a character of Hope that I was up for, and this other girl got in place of me. The girl has to sing. This girl couldn't sing, and I'm like, yes. The reason why you cast her is because she is the niece of Helen Hayes, the first lady of the theater. Guess what? She's not going to give you that endowment. She was a pretty girl, but she could not, even by her own admission, she couldn't sing. So I was like, okay, the politics is ridiculous. So when I did try working in acting, I got more into TV production in the what do you call it? I worked with Operation Primetime and Television Program Enterprises, and they had these shows out like Solid Gold. They started Star Search. They had all these other movies that were produced for them. So I was in the business area of that and wanting to get in front of the camera. That still didn't happen. And then after catching meningitis at some point, and almost, that's not a fun thing to deal with. I met what's his face a month later, my husband, yes. And then he asked me to marry him a month later.
My goodness, you must have known right off the bat you were the one for him.
No. All I thought of when I saw him, first thing I thought is like, okay, like he's got, dark brown hair and he's got a few white patches here. And I'm thinking, gosh, he's only 20 something years old. He needs hair dye. This is what's going through my brain. And he showed up wearing this really nice leather jacket. And we met through this dating service going way, way back. And we spent our first date, actually, it was like a job interview. He was at my parents' house and we were talking for hours and hours. And a friend of mine asked me, so you're going to go out with him? I said, oh, I know. He's got a great brain, but if he never asked me out again, who cares? Next thing I know, he asked me out. And then, yeah, my dog decided not to kill him. So that was good. I had 2 hybrid wolves.
Whoa.
It was not unintentional. It's that, one of my my father had a dog at his business. She was a German Shepherd. And when he wasn't looking, she got very personal with the wolf dog that belonged to one of his customers. Next thing you know, puppies. So, and any guy who used to come and take me out, they always tried to kill. On one occasion, they did draw blood. But at this case, I had a foot injury. I suffered an foot injury between the time I met what's his face, and I walking with a cane, and I turn around and I see him standing, and the two dogs are circling him like sharks, and he's approximately, I'm thinking, 20 feet away from me. And I'm saying, I'll never get to him in time. I said, whatever you do, don't move. They look at him, they look at me, they looked at each other, they walked away. He asked me to marry him 2 weeks later.
Wow, that's how you do it. Oh my gosh.
Yes, if your hybrid wolves do not decide to kill the person you're dating, that's probably a sign that might be a good one.
I want to know when you first started doing comedy. How long ago? What was that like? And I know we both partake in joke Zooms, so I want you to talk about Rob Schiaffe's website and class and promote that as well as yourself.
Rob Schiaffe's website, his class, the community he's created has been a godsend, because during the pandemic, you could not go out to perform. You need to work on your material. Stand-up is organic. In a sense, it's very different from acting, in the sense that you could practice your monologue on your own. Yeah, maybe with Zoom, you could practice your lines with one of your actor friends, okay? And then when you act, you're like standing 6 feet away from each other while you're doing it, okay? But comedy is something that you have to work on, because it's not just that you write it in the group. You have to try it in front of human beings. And there's a time delay with Zoom. You've also got to have the interpersonal. I'm a very, very, how should I say? I am a very physical comic. I mean, I have a routine where my husband got me kicked out of Lamaze being an orangutan. So what do? I imitate an orangutan. Not the most classiest thing, but hey, I've got people who remember me for it for some reason. But you need to have, what Joke Zoom provides is, you bring your material and you work on it one joke at a time, and you have the input from several different comics. Some have comedy similar to yours, some are different points of view, different ideas. Maybe you can shave this part off, maybe you could add this part in, maybe you can rework it. So it gives you something to work with, because without this, you're writing it up and you would go and do trial by error on stage. But when you can't get in front of a stage, that's difficult, and it is a living thing. It's something that you cannot have a robot do. You could have animation, as we've seen it in these games, these video games, where my son would call me over and say, "Mom, this is like a real person." I'm like, "Yeah, well, without my glasses, yeah, that does look like a real person." And you could put some acting things going on with that. You can do it. You cannot do that with stand-up. Stand-up comics can never be replaced. Can actors be replaced by CGI? Yeah, they can. Comics cannot, because it is more of a breathing entity. That's really the best place I could do. I mean, yes, you can be spontaneous and all those other different things, but as far as building your set, putting your jokes together, getting the input, and it's not that we are doing the set for everybody in the community when we're on Zoom. It's just that you're piecing it together so that when you do your material, you can do it. Now, there are during the pandemic, there were a number of Zoom mics that would open up, and they were all over the world. So I was in Japan, I was in Australia, I was in, all around. You could do it 24/7. And that's where you can bring your material and you could do it there. But once again, you are working inside of this box.
Yes.
So it's, somehow I'd really have to, if I do anything physical where I'm doing a Quasimodo thing, or if I'm doing an ape thing or something like that, yeah, I'd have to really rearrange where I put my computer.
Absolutely. So how long have you been doing comedy per se?
I've been doing comedy over 5 years, to begin with.
And so the very first time you got on stage, what was that like?
The very first time I got on stage, my daughter is actually now calling me. She never calls me.
People always call me when I'm on Zoom.
Hey, Sabrina, I can't talk right now. I'm being interviewed.
10 more
Oh, okay.
minutes.
10 more. We'll be fine, sweetheart. I love you. Bye. So, and especially since he's away, that's why I always tend to answer. Yeah, no, the funny thing is I always knew that I could make people laugh, even in general conversations. My father, I was always able to make him laugh. He was able to make me laugh. The only time I was not able to make him laugh is right before he died. That's how I knew he was on his way out.
Wow.
But laughter is a healing thing. And
Absolutely.
I would speak to friends. I had a friend who was she had just had a hysterectomy. And she says, listen, this is going to be a planned hysterectomy. What I need you to do is do not call me for a whole month. I said, well, because you always make me laugh. And when you've had abdominal surgery, you do not want to be laughing. It's painful to laugh.
Very.
So it's been like over 5 years. I mean, I've been working on comedy for quite a few years. I've been also working as acting. I was on Saturday Night Live. I was in a video with Saturday Night Live.
Tell us about that.
Oh, that was joyful. I got to sing in a bar singing this song, I just had sex. We all had to sing that song, I just had sex. It was like, I would remember my sister-in-law saying to me, do you realize your mother might see you on Saturday Night Live singing this song? I'm like, do you realize that she needs you to tell her how to handle the remote? Do you think you can forget how to tell her how to handle the remote? Like maybe make the remote disappear? So no, so basically, yeah, I've been on, I will get calls from people saying, I saw you on Manifest, I saw you on FBI Most Wanted, I saw you here, I saw you walking the dog. I said, yes, and you saw my dog's butt, because on all these things I used to bring my dog, they wanted a dog, and my dog's butt got a lot of airtime. Yeah.
What else have you been able to do besides Saturday Night Live and what'd you say, FBI's Most Wanted?
FBI Most Wanted. What do you call it? I've been working on a web series called The Accidental Redhead with John Pallotta, and it's an original, and where I get to play a redhead who's an ex-con who has no filter and basically is, yeah, she's interesting. And
that sounds like the main part. The main
it
role.
is. It is. It is. Yeah, I am the accidental redhead. So that's one of the things that we're working on. I was in Ebenezer the Traveler with Jerry Parisi. He wrote it. They're turning it. They're going to be working it into a major project. Gosh, I should have my resume in front of me. I've been in. I got to meet Anne Margaret when we were doing. Yes. Oh, she is such a sweetheart.
You met her?
I met her. And what was that movie with Morgan Freeman that she was in? And Alan Arkin. And it's something, and boy, I'm really lousy as a guest because I should know what it was.
I'll look it up.
And Michael Caine. And it was a remake of a movie that had George Burns in it. And I remember I'm on the sidelines and I'm, trying to keep myself busy, when I'm upset, and I'm doing these little Zumba moves, keeping quiet to myself. She sees me, she starts laughing and she starts dancing with me.
Going in style?
Going in style, yes, going in style. So what was really funny is that she came up afterwards, I walked up to her and said, do you remember Bob Gonzo? He was my comedy coach. He said that you were his most beautiful girl he ever worked with. Oh, tell Bobby that Annie says hi. And she was just so sweet. I mean, she's such a tiny little person too. She's really smart.
Tiny?
She is tiny. She's a pipsqueak. Man, you could snap her like a twig.
Would you say she's like 5'2"?
I think 5'2" is large for her.
Really?
She's just really, really petite. And, Morgan Freeman was very nice. I was on Madam Secretary. He was very nice. Alan Arkin was very nice. Michael Caine didn't want to have anything to do with me, but that's okay. Hey, dude, you're from your ancestors are from England. We won the war. It's okay. I'm fine. Oh, Emma Thompson.
Wow.
One of the nicest ladies ever. She was in Late Night. And I was just like, she walked up to me and says, oh, hello, I'm Emma Thompson. I'm so happy to meet you. And we're going to be working together. This would be fantastic. And I'm like, she's shaking my hand. And I'm like, I never want to wash this hand again. She did 5 separate takes and they were all pitch perfect. And then she says, well, it was lovely working with you. It was so fantastic. And you have an excellent day. I look forward to seeing you in the future. And I'm thinking, once again, I'm never going to wash his hand. I better learn to use the other hand. And she was not a diva and she was so nice. So, wow. I think
That's so great. What a life you've had.
You could appreciate the art that she, because she is the artist, she is a professional, get the job done, and you don't have the ego. And I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, I can't stand the egos in show business. It's like, be a human.
I was on Bull and they had this one attorney, playing an attorney who I swear, as God is my witness, he did like, by the 5th take, I knew his lines, okay? It took him no less than 15 takes to get these simple lines out. I was mouthing them by the time he was doing this. And I'm saying, okay, dude, I know that they tend to change dialogue in a heartbeat and you have to go with it. Once again, you're being paid more than what my house is worth. Jeez. And I know your lines after 5 takes. I'll play the part. Seriously, I'm sure I could fit into the suit. I'll pull my hair back. I'll say that I'm identifying as a guy. No problem. He was a male attorney, but.
Oh, my goodness sake. Well, what do you want to accomplish with this is kind of my closing little bit here. What do you want to accomplish in the rest of your life? Where can people follow you? Where will you be performing soon? So.
What I want to accomplish, I would like for my film career to really start taking off. I want to build on my comedy more. I would love to get a one-woman show together. And I can be found at Carolyn Mincin, actress comedian on Facebook. My website is www.carolynmincin.com. Yeah, I got an Instagram out there, damned if I know how to use that. I've got a LinkedIn, Carolyn Mincin, once again, Mincin. Yeah, that is an Italian name. No, it is not pronounced Mincin like the rest of my husband's relatives want to call it. I'm like, there's no CH in there. It's Mincin. Oh, we are Mincin. No, you're freaking Mincin, Mincin. Go with the flow. On the gravestones in Italy, it says Mincin. Deal with it. But yes, and I'd like to have comedy touch a lot of lives and to lift people up because it is tremendously healing.
It is.
It's taking control. It's making people laugh. Laughter can be healing.
Yes, amen. That is so true. So true. I believe in that. Well, I want to sincerely thank Wesley for serving in the country at this time. Do you have relatives in your family prior to Wesley who have served?
My father served in World War II, and I think he was an inspiration for Wesley because my father didn't tolerate people with egos, even if they were officers, and neither does Wes. There was a time when they were rowing in boats in enemy territory, and they were in, France, going to the, Germans on the other side and all that other stuff. And the officer had hidden his epaulets and they're all rowing and he's sitting up there like King Farouk. And it's like, of course, they're going to pick off the officer first and they're going to go for the rest of them. So my dad said, sir, get down and row. You're going to get us in trouble. They're going to go after you first. And he's like, Gorinsky, I'm not doing that. I'm like, pick up the damn oar and row. I mean, this is a great story with this. my father and my son are very much the same as far as being very protective of their families. And my father told my grandmother that, it's okay, Mom, I'm, at Cape Fear in, New Jersey, in the US. I mean, we're okay, no problem. They're not going to even bother sending me over because as you know, the mail had APO addresses. Nothing was sent over saying Germany, it said over here. So my grandmother's getting all these letters saying, hey, this is what's going on here in the States down here, blah, 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 blah. She opens up the newspaper and she sees this very big picture of a very handsome soldier digging up a very big bomb. She's like, wow, that looks like my son, Peter. And can't be. And then she sees Peter J. Gorinsky. It's like, okay, there's probably more than one Polish American soldier there. All right. 459 West 35th Street, New York, USA. And so she sends him over the picture with her envelope in an envelope saying, so how are things in Germany? Or is it France that you're in? I can't tell these days. He was busted. He couldn't get out of it. And it was just as well that it happened because unfortunately after that, he was wounded. He almost lost his legs. He was shrapnel. He was in a ditch and the guy next to him got blown away. He survived it, but he spent over 9 months in a wheelchair. And after that, he met my mom. And then, years later, strange things happened in the cosmos and I got popped out.
Wow. So he was an inspiration to Wesley.
Very much so, because it's a matter of getting the job done, doing the job right, taking care of your men, they'll take care of you. Be respectful, but I'm amazed that Wes has got away with doing a lot of the things that he has done. I mean, he does things by the book, but he doesn't bow. And I'm really proud of him for that. But he takes care of his men and his men know it. And he does a good job. So I'm very proud of him. And anyone I've spoken to always says very good things about him.
That's so awesome. Well,
I
we'll
kind of like
certainly
him.
and we'll keep praying for Wesley's safe return as well as those in the group with him from the
Thank you.
Philadelphia Police Department and all the people, every single soldier that's serving for them to come back safely,
Amen.
mentally and physically.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Well, thank you so much for coming on here, and I'll see you at jokezoom.com with Rob Chiaffi. I come on there when I can. It's not that often, but I love seeing you there, and I love the ideas you share. And
you have really great input. The last joke you have helped me with the emoji thing is going to be really, really funny. It's going to work. It's going to rock.
I can't wait. I can't wait to hear it. And I'll come back on. I don't always make time. Sometimes you guys do it at 6 a.m. East Coast. That's 3 here in the morning.
Yeah, but then sometimes you're doing it 8 p.m.
That's true.
Other time, East Coast, which means it's like 5 there. And then in this case today, they had at 12, and which is 9 over there. But, once again, what's his face is like, I got a cold. I'm like, okay, I'm making you chicken soup already. Here, take this, take that. And right now the cat is just like hanging on over this, just like watching over him. So
I better let you go. I know your daughter's waiting to talk to you in Texas.
Thank you.
Thank you
for having me.
Oh, this was so fun. Now I know you better, and other people will get to know you. So follow her on Facebook, Carolyn Mincin,
actress, comedian.
Yeah, follow her.
And www.carolynmincin.com.
MINCIN. There's no H in there.
No H. It's MINCIN.
MINCIN.
MOUSE.
Not Mickey Mouse.
We'll leave that part out, but yeah.
Thank you so much. I'll see you later. Love you lots.
Mwah.
Mwah. Bye, everybody.